finish the Amid today because this is our last day of the week that we could do it, at least in yeshiva. We're at the top of the Amid on Hey Amid Beis. It's we learned in the Mishnah that you have to be mitzainin. You have to make a mark by a mace. But the halacha is we only make a mark when there's a problem of oil. When it's going to be that if you walk over it, oil means like a canopy. If you walk over it, that the tumah goes up all the way so that when you walk over it, you become tameh. But if you're just going to become tameh from moving it or from touching it, then we don't make a mark for that. So the Bryce says like this: Tana Rabbanan, Eimet Zainin. You don't make a marker. Loyal kazayis min ames. If there's only a kazayis from a dead person there, you don't make a marker. The Gemara is going to ask that is mitama bayil, and you should make a marker. The Gemara is going to ask later. Loyal etzem kasayra, and not on a bone, the tiny amount of a barley grain. Loyal davar sheina mitama bayil, and not on anything that's not mitama bayil, like we just said. Aval mitzainin al shedra, but you do make a mark for a shedra, the spinal cord, where that's a chashuva thing, and it is going to be matama bayil. Val gulgailes, or the you got it. Val gulgailes, and on the skull, which is also chashuv. Therefore, it's matama bayil. Al roiv binyan, if you have most of the skeletal form there, even though it's not most of the bones, but it's most of the form. V'al roiv minyan ames, and on most of the, or if you don't have most of the skeletal form, but you have most of the bones, 125 bones, even if they're small bones, then you make those are going to be metama bayil because it's chashuv, and you make a marker there that we should not bring truma. You should not that a person shouldn't become tameh. They shouldn't be metama truma. Ve'emet signin al avadois, but we don't make a sign when we know that there's mace, that there's something tameh there that's metama bayil because people know about it. We do make a sign when we're not sure. What's the case of sveikus? Ve'eloin sveikus chachos. If you have like tree branches that make a canopy that hang over the road, upros, or rocks that jut out into the road, those kind of cases we're not sure by the Beis HaKfaris. The reason why we're not sure if there's a dead person there is what used to happen was, if let's say they were burying someone Erev Shabbos and they didn't have time to get into the Beis HaKfaris and it was getting to Shabbos, they quickly looked for the best place near the Beis HaKfaris to bury the person. So if they found like a tree branch hanging over, okay, it's a little bit of a private area, or behind a rock, a huge rock that was jutting over, they would bury the person there. So therefore, those are sveikas, those are places we're not sure if there's tumah, and therefore the Mishnah says you are mitzainin when that does happen. You are mitzainin in that case. You do make a mark if you bury someone there. And a third case, ubeis haperes, and also a yard, a field where they plowed up a dead. There might have been someone buried there, and this happens in Eretz Yisrael, and that someone plowed the land, and the skeletal body of the person, skeletal parts, got all crushed and all over the land. So then you are mitzainin. You do make a mark there. The Gemara is going to explain this a little bit more later. But we don't place the marker right by the tumah. What they used to do is they used to pour like lime there. So when you came there, there's a dead person here. So you have to set it back a little, because otherwise, the person is going to come, step on it, and go, oops, it's right here, and become tummy already. Then you don't make it in the exact spot so that you don't ruin the tarais because the person won't realize. But you set it back. But you don't make it too far back, because if you make it too far back, you make it in all four places, all far back, so you're messing up a lot of land in Eretz Yisrael. You're not going to be able to walk through with truma, so you're making people not walk at certain parts. So you try to just do it a minimum amount. On that, the Gemara now is going to speak about each case from before. Are you telling me that a kazayis min ames is not matam boil? We learned Elu Tanan. We learned in the Mishnah Elu shemitam and boil. One of the things, these are cases that are mitama boil. that the tumah goes up, and if you step over, you become tameh. One of them is gezayis min hameis. Now listen to this, very interesting. We're dealing with an exact kezayis of flesh of a dead person. Now what's going to happen? If it's a kezayis min hameis, you're going to put down a marker that here is tumah. Now in a day or 2 or 3, what happens to flesh? It wears out, it dries out, and it becomes smaller. Even if it becomes a tiny bit smaller, it's not tumah anymore. So next week, a kohen's going to pass by with truma, and he's going to pass by and by mistake think that his truma is tumah and burn the truma. In fact, that's going to happen forever. So better that we don't mark it now, a kezayis of tumah of flesh, because at least, and for the next few days, maybe someone will pass by and make truma tameh by mistake, but at least that's just for a moment, or a day, or 2. But then forever, you won't have the mark there because there's no tumah there. So says the Gemara. We're talking about an exact amount. The saif at the end, michser chaser, it's going to get less. Mutav, it's better yisrael of truma kachim lefisha, that for the next day or 2, if someone makes a mistake and thinks that there is tumah there, and that doesn't realize there's tumah there, and they're going to make a mistake, that they'll burn the truma. That's better than forever after that, putting a mark there and people thinking there's tumah there, and there's not really after a few days because it gets smaller. And then you'll always forever, if a person passes by and there's a mark there for tumah, and he by mistake goes there with his truma, he's going to burn his truma. That's going to go on forever. And it's not true because there's no tumah there after a few days, because it gets smaller, the piece of meat, and it's going to be less than gezayis. Says the Gemara. What's the case of the sfekas? Like we said before, schachos uprois, that you have a canopy of branches uprois, and you have boulders jutting out. Schachos, what is schachos? Ilan hamesach ala aretz. It's a tree that's hanging over the ground. Prois, avanim prois, hayetzim and ageder. It's stones that are jutting out from the wall of the Beis HaKvaros. Beis HaPras. What's Beis HaPras? Keditanan, like we learned in the Mishnah. Beis HaPras was the 3rd case. That's called Sveikus. Keditanan, achayrish is a keber. If you plow the keber, oisa Beis HaPras, it becomes a Beis HaPras. V'kamu oisa, and how much? V'kamu oisa. And how far should you set back the marker? Maloi mana meya ama. The amount, a furrow amount of a furrow worth, which is 100 amas back on all 4 sides. Correctly, Gemara, beis hapras mimatama ba'il, is beis hapras matama ba'il. When you crush, when someone plows a skeletal body, a skeletal form, is it matama ba'il? Do you put a marker there? Rabbi Yehuda said the name of Shmuel. Let's say you're going with your carbon pesach to Eretz Yisrael, to the Yerushalayim. You want to go and you come to a field that has a skeletal body that's plowed up. What do? You go on the floor and you blow. As you go through the field, just blow, and therefore if there's any little pieces of bone, you'll blow it out of the way, and you could go through the field that way, because anything that's in the ground, if it's buried in the ground, it's not going to, there's no tumas oil. It's not, the tumah is not going to go up. So as long as you blow the little bones away, that's enough. The Rabbi Yehuda Barami Mishmei Dula Amar, Rabbi Yehuda Barami said in the name of Allah, Ubeis HaPrasha Nidash Tar, and not only that, if it was Nidash, if it was very stamped upon, people used it a lot, tar, it's tar also, because why? Because it becomes so small, or people push away the bones. But anyway, you see at the end of the day that a beis hapras is not matama ba'il. So how could we say that it is? There's 2 types of beis hapras. One beis hapras is when it was never plowed, but we just lost the place where the person was buried. That case, that is matama ba'il, of course. And the case of the carbon pesach, where you blow the bones, that's a field, a regular beis hapras, that a field that was plowed, that the body was plowed over. But is a ksada that the field that was plowed, is that called the beis hapras? And it says Gemara it is. But Tanan, like we learned in the Mishnah, Shleisha Beis HaPras, saying there are 3 cases that are called Beis HaPras. Sada Shneva B'Kever, a Sada that a dead person was buried there and we don't know exactly where he was. The Sada Shenechush B'Kever, and a field that was plowed over a dead skeletal form. V'sadeh beis, v'sadeh stay boichin, and a sadeh of crying. What's the stay boichin? Says the Gemara, what's the story? It says, "My stay boichin, Rabbi Shua Barav and Shoidul Amar sadeh shemaftirim b'mesim." That it used to be that if someone had to be buried in a different city, sorry guys, 5 more minutes. I just want to finish Talmud. Had to be buried in a different city. The Chevra Kadisha of one city or the family would bring it to the Chevra Kadisha of another city, meet in a certain field. That was the field where everyone met when they transferred the body over to the new Chevra Kadisha. So what happened was the bodies decomposed more. They didn't have refrigerators and that type of stuff. So there were bones. And sometimes this Chevra Kadisha would be nervous. You could keep it on. Everyone else could go. I'll continue. They would be nervous. Okay, you know what? You could stop.